Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor presented by Profotech team. I am Sanjay. We are learning CodeIgniter version 3 HMVC tutorial for beginners. This is our part 19. Inside this video session guys, we will discuss about showing our existing values for edit operation. So if I back to browser, now in the last video, this is the section actually we had developed something called listing of all the data what basically we have created from this form. Now this time, inside this listing, what we want when we click on these edit buttons, we want to show a layout. In that layout basically we have a form and we want to populate all the values when we click on a specific row. It means that if we click on this fourth number row, then it will open that page and this fourth number row values will automatically show or populate on this form. Okay, so this is the section actually we need to develop inside this video. So back to editor. Now this is the section actually showing all the books listing to our output screen. So inside this edit button, this is the edit button. Now inside this edit button, I'm going to change firstly the hyperlink. So let's say PHP echo, this is something site URL, and inside this let's say that book, and let's say edit book, and here we want the ID of that book, so we have to pass the ID. So ID is coming inside this book. This is the actually looping iterating variable, and inside this we have a key something called ID, which basically containing about the ID of that book. So if I back to routes.php, because this is the route actually we need to make, so go here and let's say that route, here we have called book, and let's say edit book, and here we have to pass about the parameterized routing, because when we click on any of the row it will automatically open a new link which contains a parameter inside this routing. So back to routes, and let's say that here I'm to pass any, and inside this it will open called book. Let's say edit, or let's say show edit book, and here I am to pass the placeholder dollar symbol $1. This is a placeholder value which basically indicates that we are passing a parameter inside this route. So now if we save this route file, copy this method name back to our book controller, and if I scroll down to add the footer to write the method definition, so let's say public function, and here is the method name. Now this method basically expecting a variable or taking a variable from our URL. Now inside this method, let's say that we are passing at the URL something book ID. So what we have to do, on the behalf of this book ID, we actually need to get all the data from our table and will populate inside our created layout. So let's say that firstly or about book, and we are going to make a method inside our book model. So let's say book model, and let's say get underscore, let's say book data. Now inside this method I'm to pass this ID, so copy and pasting it here. Copy this method name, go to book model, and inside this model I'm to define a method. So let's say public function. This is our get book data, and here inside this method actually we are passing the book ID. So let's say that this db, let's say select, and inside this select we want to get all the data from our table. So this db from, and let's say tbl underscore users, and here I'm to specify the where condition. So here ID should be something what we are passing right here inside this method definition, and finally return the results. So return, and firstly we have to generate the query. So query, let's say this db, it should be get, and finally here along with return let's say query, and we are getting this time only a single row on the behalf of this ID. Okay, so what will be the query generated here? So it should be select asterisk from TBL users where ID equal to what ID we are passing right here inside this method. So if I back to controller, now all we have done with this book model, now this will basically returns all the book details. Now next we have to define a layout. So this load view, and let's say that inside book module, let's say show book data, and inside here I am to pass this. So if I cut this book from here, let's say data, and we are passing our array variable right here, so we are getting all the data inside this view file now. So let's create this view file first. So copy the name, go to our book module. So this is our book module, and inside this book module we have a views folder, and I'm going to create that file inside this folder. So .php. Now again, if I go to create book.php, copy all the contents and pasting inside this file. Now this time this file is only, let's say, edit book, and also if I scroll down, the route actually we are using, let's say that this time we are not working on the submission of updated data, so right now we are leaving blank. So JavaScript void 0. Also let's change about the name of this form and ID as well. So all the data we have updated. Now this time this is the name, author, publication and the description. All we have done now. Only we need to show about the existing values of this saved data. So here inside this values I am going to get rid of this set value function, and here we are using the index of book, and this book basically, if I copy this data variable and let's print r, and let's say here it should be echo PHP to make some formatting, save all these changes, back to browser, reload this page. Now let's say that I'm going to click on the second row, so edit. Now here we have some error, and error is that TBL users, this is not TBL users, actually we have called TBL underscore books. So this was our mistake. So TBL underscore books. So if we save all these changes, back to browser, now this is the data. This is our book number 2 details. So back here again, if we click on the 6th number row, edit, now this is all about the details of our book 6. Now let's say that we are going to show all these existing values inside this form. So here let's say that we have called book, and for we have called name attribute. So again scroll down, and this time we have to use called set value for this author. So here let's say that book, and here we have called book underscore author, and also for the name we have something book underscore name. So again, if I go to publication, so remove this set value first, and let's say book, this is all about, it should be book, and let's say publication. And finally for the description, so PHP, let's say echo, it should be something called book and book underscore description. So if we save all these changes, back to browser, reload this page and click on any of the edit button, let's say 4th number row. Now here firstly we have to remove our printer, so just get rid of that, save these changes, reload this page. Now we are getting about called book number 4 details inside this form. Again, if you go to list all books, let's say that book number 5th, and this is all about the details of our book number 5. So in the next video, what we have to do, we have to update the data. Let's say that if we want to change about the name, author, publication or any of the detail of this form, so after updating the details, when we press submit button, then it will automatically update the existing values to our database table. So inside this video session guys, we have done a simple thing. What that is, basically we have made a edit layout. It means that when we click on this edit button, we have developed a form which basically show our existing values what we have saved for this ID. So for this functionality, basically we have developed a simple view file which basically I have copied from this create book page. Also we have made a route, and finally inside this controller we have made a method inside our book model with basically taking a ID, and on the behalf of this ID it is returning the details of that book. And finally we have shown all the existing values inside this form successfully. So inside this video session guys, if you went out, then please drop your comment. I will give my reply as soon as possible. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.